Spartan Up podcast. We are at Dodger Stadium, and I am Steph the Seed Huntress. We have Dr. Johnny Waite, retired Colonel Nye, even though he's still active in so many ways. And Joe DeSena, of course, Marion, our producer and director, and our wonderful assistant, Andrea. Thank you, blessings. Okay, so today we have Zach Anner. Is that how I say it?
Yeah. 100% for sure the funniest person we've ever had on here.
And philosophically brilliant. And
it kind of blew me away. I didn't know very much. He's got a book out.
Yeah.
And here's a guy with so much difficulty in his life that's just having a blast. I think we could learn a lot from him.
Welcome to Spartan Up podcast. We are here at Dodger Stadium. It is, what day of the week is it, Marion?
Saturday.
It's Saturday. The reason I asked, we usually don't talk about what day of the week we're filming because it may not be Saturday that you're watching this, but I wanted to introduce Wednesdays. That's the important thing to me.
Workout Wednesdays.
Workout Wednesdays. I've got Zach Anner here. Zach, I'm from Canada. I've known about you for years.
I'm from Buffalo, which is basically the Canada of the United States.
It really is. It really is. I've been watching Workout Wednesday for years. When I found out you were going to be our podcast, off the charts excited, like massive fan. Tell us how Workout went. Tell us what it is and how it came about.
Hi, I'm Zach Anner. This is Workout Wednesday, the workout show that teaches you how to be patient when I don't make these for 3 months. Well, Workout Wednesday is a fitness show on YouTube where I basically show people how to be good sports at the sports they're not good at. So it's basically me sucking at every conceivable athletic activity and shouting inspirational jokes at the same time as I'm failing.
I fell in love with that the second I saw it because not only are you, like you really are, I mean, the content is super valuable for people, but the energy that you bring to it is what makes it so cool, like the fun that you have with it.
I think I tend to have a faults first approach to life because, you know, I have a disability. I have cerebral palsy, and that in a way has been like an incredible gift because everyone sees your faults right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to hide anything.
Sure.
And it's sort of been a route to being more authentic with people. And if you can put everything out there and just say, we're all going to fail, we're all going to fall down, and just show that and somehow show that as a route to success, that's just the most fun thing.
So one thing I've loved about this podcast, we're a couple hundred interviews in now, and the people we meet are so fascinating. And the most fascinating people aren't the ones who come in and say, here's my success, I've always been successful kid, successful adult, and it's the ones who say, it hasn't been easy. There have been struggles along the way, and they're willing to put that out there. And like you say, for some people it's an effort because they have to take off their guard. And I love that you say, I'm lucky that I don't have to do that. You know, my fortune is that people see it right up front. So, but talk about over the years, like growing up as a kid with cerebral palsy, the challenges, you know, the downs that brought, and how you turn that into a high, how you turn that and said, I'm going to use this.
I honestly, you know, growing up in Buffalo, New York, just snow like 8 months out of the year.
Yeah. Not really conducive to a wheelchair.
No, not really. But you kind of have to develop a sense of humor with that. My family was always funny. And I realized pretty early that if I can connect with people through humor, then all of a sudden we're connecting on a human level. And you're not necessarily seeing me as just a person with a disability. We're finding something that's relatable. Yeah. And that is sort of what propelled my whole career, is by taking everything that people could normally dismiss me with, sure, and saying, this is actually a tool, a bridge to connect with people.
And, you know, like when I say about watching and becoming such a big fan of the videos, the only thing that this disability has to do is create context. That's not what makes it compelling. What's compelling is you and your humor and your attitude and your just your whole way of being. So I love the way you say that it's opened up doors. I mean, it's what it is, right? You know, if you're tall, you're tall. If you're short, you're short. If you're, you know, that's just what you have.
Yeah, you have to use everything in your toolbox. And cerebral palsy is just one of the things in my toolbox.
Sure.
And funneled through other talents and the ability to connect with people and communicate and talk about bigger ideas. It's just something unique that I hadn't seen and I would have wanted growing up.
And so I want to ask you about that, how that came about. So Workout Wednesdays, was it your idea? Was it someone else's idea? Did somebody say, Zach, you got to do this? How did that happen?
Well, Workout Wednesdays came when I was launching my own YouTube channel. I had a show on the Oprah Winfrey Network for about 10 minutes. And it was a travel show. And no, it was a really great 10 minutes. My mom loved it. But yeah, it was an experience of seeing the way that was produced, and also the way that I was represented was sort of like as this inspirational, look at what this kid with a disability can do, and a little bit, as we say, inspiration porny. And I was like, how could I turn that on its head? Yeah. What if instead of showing me succeeding and doing all of these incredible things when it doesn't really feel authentic, what if I show myself failing and to have that same optimism?
I saw a great climbing film a while ago, just a short documentary about a climber who was missing a hand, another climber was missing a foot, and they got so sick of being the climber missing a hand, the climber missing the foot, and always the inspirational story. They're like, I'm a climber. I'm just a climber. The fact that I have a foot or a hand is just one interesting part about me. So that really resonates when you say that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and what's great about showing everything that you are not good at is there's an infinite number of things.
And you have a deep well to draw on there. That's great.
And really, it is sort of, if there's one thing I can drive home, it's that, perspective is everything. Yeah. And failure often provides an alternate route to success.
Yeah, 100%. And so speaking of alternate routes to success, and you come up with this idea for Workout Wednesdays, what was the reception like? Did it just, did it boom? Like, did you put that out and it blew up?
Well, it actually, the first one we did was just me doing pull-ups and giving people compliments. And then that one did okay, but on the comments, we got sort of like a trolley comment of hey, why don't you do like a treadmill one? That would be great. And I was like,
love that one.
And I said, well, I have a treadmill in my apartment. Why don't we just do it? Somebody named Dane wrote, hey, Zach, you should do a treadmill one. Well, I don't know if you noticed this about me, Dane, but I live in an apartment complex with a treadmill in it. So we're totally gonna do it. And so that really took off. So I took something that someone was just saying as like a joke of like, you wouldn't be able to do this. And I was like, let me show you
the best revenge.
How much I won't be able to do it.
And the other great thing about it, when you're yelling out, like you say, and you actually called them motivational jokes, and I just want to say, I didn't listen to them as motivational jokes, even though there's humor in it. It is actually motivational. When you said, when you're, you've got a hold of the arms and you're doing it your way, and you're like, I can do this, you can do this. But the incredible thing is, some of the people you're talking to who are fully able-bodied, they're not doing it, right? Like I heard a parkour guy who said, we have 2 hands and 2 feet, and most of it use it to type on a keyboard and ride an elevator, and that's it. And so there's so many people who are fully able-bodied who aren't doing half of what you're doing. So I love when you say that, and you say, hey, I'm up here doing it, you can do it.
Well, the thing is, too, is that I'm actually, the thing that I've realized lately is that I'm actually a pretty privileged guy. Like, I use a wheelchair, but I'm still like a white dude in America with a bunch of opportunities that most people don't get. Yep. And I know that, like, even if people don't have physical struggles, that doesn't mean that they don't have emotional ones, financial ones. And I think one of the big reasons that I wanted to show all of the falls and the missteps is because I didn't want anybody to ever feel like I was better than them or I had it all figured out.
We had a great conversation this morning on our way here, and we're talking about privilege. And the thing is, people always want to dismiss their own privilege. And I love that you, who says, hey, people can look at me and they can see a disability. People can look at me and they can feel sorry for me. You're saying, I have tremendous privilege. I have things in my life that have helped me move forward. So when we come back from the break, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about what you're going to do with that next, what the projects are that you're going to use all the gifts you've been given and the opportunities you've created, and what you're going to do with that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, great.
Perfect.
I'll have to think of some stuff.
We got this new book coming out, third book.
Okay.
The Spartan Way.
All right. Sounds great.
Do you think it's too much Spartan? Should we change the name?
No.
The Spartan Way.
Spartan Way. That's your way. That's the Spartan way.
Well, it's. I mean, this is 2,500 years of history. So it's not Joe's way. It's the Spartan way.
Yeah, but you're bringing it. You're bringing it back.
I'm bringing it back. And 10 principles. If you hone in on them, you focus on them, you're going to achieve anything you want in life. Real simple. Follow the principles. By the way, I wish I could say it was easy, but maybe you don't want to buy the book because it's going to be hard work.
You set a goal and you follow it, right? And this is a roadmap that's going to help people get there.
This is the roadmap. If you do these things, you win.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I haven't seen it yet, although I think I'm pretty familiar with the 10. Yeah. I've kind of heard some of your briefings, so I look forward to getting the book. Maybe an advance copy, maybe it can be signed, and I'll read it.
We'll do it. I'll sign.
All right. So I assume this book they can get the book anywhere, Barnes & Noble or Amazon?
We're only selling the book in one location. It's, I'll give you the coordinates.
Okay.
I'm kidding. No. You go to Amazon.com and you just pre-order it. And they'll ship it to you. I don't know what Amazon does, but the book shows up at your house.
They do it well, whatever they're doing.
Within 20 minutes, the book's
some drone will drop it off in your front yard.
Exactly.
Your dog will bring it to the front porch. Yeah. Beautiful.
Zach, one thing that you said in the first part, and I loved it. I know Workout Wednesdays, so that's how I know you. But you said you had the show for 10 minutes on the open way. I love that comment. But so this is part of a bigger picture, a bigger project. Workout Wednesdays is something. But you said, like you said, you've created a career. So tell me about what you're doing, what you're up to, what all it involves.
Well, currently I'm a writer for a show on ABC called Speechless.
Yeah.
And I'm also the author of a book called If at Birth You Don't Succeed. Because, I really botched that whole birth thing. And it's just a memoir of every failure and what I've learned from it to help lead to success. And then I do a lot of public speaking in both the corporate and private sector. So it's like I have a lot of careers, which I've realized that the through line through all of them is just authenticity, right? So I can't really be summed up by the content I produce. It's just the feeling that I bring to it.
I love when you say authenticity. Your career is being Zach Anner.
Yeah,
to me, that's your career.
And finding the most honest way to be that. So even I do some brand consulting too, and basically if I love a product, I can find a route to sell it, and finding the way that something that you love is sellable, and if you are being yourself, there's really a much easier sell there.
Yeah.
And I feel like most of the time people are concerned about numbers and making things go viral. Yeah. But what I'm really thinking about when I'm working on something like that is, what is the thing that makes this exciting? And that's what I try to do with all my content.
And, the one thing that everyone can be, the one thing that everyone has access to is being themselves, and yet
it's the hardest thing.
Exactly.
It's the hardest thing.
Everyone wants so badly to be that person or that person or that person, and the only thing we can be is ourselves, and we spend our whole life trying not to be. So, that's you've really created a...
See, but the leg up is that the wheelchair sort of gave me no choice to at least, it's not something you can hide behind, right? So, that was a head start in that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a bit about how you got into the writing. So I understand the YouTube videos because, like you say, you're being you. But in terms of the writing, and you're creating something for a huge audience with the show, how did that come around?
Well, I always say that I'm the sum of my best collaborators, right? And my main writing and producing partner, Jillian Grassi, is here with me today, and we wrote the whole book together, right? And from that, the creator of Speechless sort of got introduced to my work and called me up and was wondering if I would come and do some consulting for them and use my life experience to inform the show. And for those that don't know, Speechless is a sitcom that deals with a special needs family. Yeah. And a nonverbal kid with CP is at the center of that show. So he said, bring your life experience to it. And we hit it off so well that he asked me to come and write full time for the second season. So in a way, that experience has informed that, no terrible experience that I've had has been wasted, because it can all be used to inform, whether it's, books or this show. Like every failure, every embarrassment that you have, if you have enough perspective on it, you can turn it into something.
100%. That easy life that we're taught to want, get the good marks, go to the good school, get the good job, retire, and play decent golf. Nobody would watch that movie, ever.
No. No, I mean, and that's the way that I live my life. I sort of, like, when I'm going through something really tough, I sort of have to step outside of myself and say, okay, this is really hard to go through now, but it's going to make a great story.
100%. We had another guest on, Frank Ferrante, who had a great comment when he said, the 25 years of failure and falling on my face, I now look back and that's 25 years of creating amazing content that I can now use.
Yeah, it's if you can have enough perspective to utilize everything bad that has happened to you and make something out of it, then that's the greatest thing. That makes everything more interesting.
So speaking of more interesting, so you've got the show, you've got the book, you've got Workout Wednesdays, you've got a platform now to speak, and you're doing the corporate speaking. And so what's a project? Another guest today talked about be audacious in your aspirations that we met with. So what are your audacious aspirations? What do you want to do next with all this?
Well, right now, Jillian and I are developing the book into a TV series. Awesome. So that's a big thing, and we're also working on the follow-up book. So I have zero time, but it's great. It's like being busy is the best thing in the world, and working on something that is going to resonate with people and mean something. There's no greater thing. I don't think there's any greater gift.
So, Zach, one of the cool things about our podcast, we have this huge breadth of guests, but we have an equally wide breadth of audience. There's business people, there's athletes, there's aspiring athletes, there are people who are just getting started. So everyone out there has something. They have some challenge they want to get over, something they want to do, and they don't know where to start. So, as a creative person, as somebody who, is moving forward in your life, what's some advice you'd give? To the average listener out there?
Sure.
Watcher.
I think, having cerebral palsy has given me a masterclass in asking for help.
Yep.
And that is, I think, the number one thing, finding the people that can give you the help you need and fill in the gaps where you may not have strength in those areas, but finding the people that can elevate you and then doing whatever it takes to keep them. I have an amazing team of people that make me look like a success even when I'm not. Like, I tend to think that sometimes the only difference between looking like you're falling on your face and a miraculous recovery is who's watching at that time and who can spin that narrative and say, oh, this wasn't a failure, this was just a stutter step on the way to success. And that's, it's all about good people. It's all about building a team.
And I think that in our society, so many people think that strength is never needing to ask for help. Strength is being so strong, you can do it on your own. And there's tremendous strength in that humility of saying, hey, I may be good at this and this, but I'm not good at this, right?
Yeah, and it's only going to make your work better if you can share credit and be as open to as many great people as you can.
Yeah. And even people who love giving, there's a huge gift in giving other people the opportunity to contribute to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And again, I loved when you said about being willing to show yourself failing and to understand that there's so much success in that, success in sharing your failures.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that anyone ever succeeds is by looking at other people's failures and building on that.
Yeah.
Somebody has to lay the groundwork for success. And
Yeah.
failure is basically, failure is the foundation of success.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I want to say is a great gift is having you on the show. I have appreciated this so much. Like I say, I'm a super fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, when we had our list of guests, I looked at it and I'm like, Laird Hamilton, cool. Gabby Reese, cool.
Oh, you're going to throw
Zach
other
Hanner,
people
are
under
you
those bus?
serious, Zach Hanner? So, dude, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You inspire the hell out of me. Workout Wednesdays. Check it out. We're going to put a link on so everyone knows about it. That's such a good introduction to you, and then they'll find out about all your other stuff, the book, the movies,
Awesome.
everything. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. And I just have to say, they're doing like the Spartan racing and doing, everyone is so physically fit here. Which the benefit of that is there are so many open, like handicapped parking spaces. When I go to like the doctor's office, can't find a space. Here it's like everyone just ran here from Canada. It's fine. No one's even parked.
How'd you like that joke? That guy's hysterical. I've never laughed out loud in an interview like that. The Oprah 10 seconds that he had the show, and his joke about handicap parking was spectacularly funny. But Tim made a great point.
Well, the point is, it was a great joke. That guy has got a great philosophy, right?
Joie de vivre.
Yeah. I mean, it's just his personality, right? He's overcome all these things. And he made a joke about that this is great to come here because there's no parking, handicap park. Or there's lots of it.
Yeah.
Truth be told, though, we have a lot of adaptive athletes, a lot of wounded warriors at all of our races. So that is one of the things that sets Spartan apart, right? Is that we've got them and they're on the course. And anyway,
I've never
And
heard
they're
of
always-
but that's the great thing about that is they have the same philosophy that he has,
Right.
Which is I'm not going to look what I can't do.
Absolutely.
It's funny
push
thing
through.
when he said I decided rather than making a video about all the things I was good at, I'd make a video about all the athletic things I suck at. And he goes, and I got a lot to work with.
infinite list, he said, right? I mean, I can do this forever, but sports, how to do them from his perspective, right? I mean, that's got to be. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to tune in.
So
and take a look at
the
it.
video series on YouTube is called Workout Wednesdays.
Right.
Workout Wednesdays is his show where every Wednesday he inspires people to get out there and do stuff by showing how difficult it is for him, but not in a poor me sort of way, in the funniest, most entertaining. Workout Wednesdays on YouTube. Honest to God, it's the second best thing on YouTube behind only Spartan Up podcast. I've been a fan for years. I'm not kidding about this. I said to Andrea when I saw the list of guests, I'm like, Laird Hamilton, awesome. Gabby Reese, awesome. No, not the Zach Hanner.
Wow.
Like this guy,
Wow.
fantastic. Yeah, and you saw why. So
No, he's so full of energy and life and fun.
yeah, and he said the other thing, and I don't even think he meant this as a joke, although he so subtly probably did, when he said, you know what really gave me a leg up over everyone else, as he sat there with his legs that are not
Canadian
coming
humor.
up.
As he kept sliding off the chair.
Yeah, it was incredible, eh?
Right.
And he said what gave me a leg up was the fact that the wheelchair and the visible disability meant I could just be myself right off the hop, because so many people try and put their best foot forward and never want to show weakness. He goes, I can't not show weakness. This is who I am. And so it gave me the ability to be completely authentic with people right off the hop and not pretend I'm anything I'm not.
And,
Well,
oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, go, Sephora.
Colonel, I defer to you.
No, I was just going to say the title of his book.
Oh,
I
geez.
think is
If at birth you
If
don't
at birth you
succeed.
don't succeed.
And then he said, because I really screwed up that birth thing.
right. He screwed up his own birth. I mean, wow.
Knock on wood. But the thing that I like that he said is, even when you're going through something like totally awful and miserable and the worst, he has this hilarious sense of humor about like, oh, this is gonna make a great story.
This is gonna make a great
This
story.
is great content.
Right, yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's such a great paradigm shift for when all these people are like, oh, this is so hard and blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes later when they're drinking a beer that they're going to be telling that story of what it was most hard for them.
But that's your philosophy, Johnny.
100%.
You get to do this.
Yeah, you get to
Every
do-
day I get to do this. People go,
Yeah.
I got to go to my kid's parent-teacher interview today. Really? You have to? You get to do that. I got to go do some training for my marathon. No, you get to do that. Everything is get to do that, right?
Well, I'm thinking about Earl Granville, right? One of the first times I met him was up in Boston, and Erica had brought him in. And Earl Granville's one of our racers, one of our hero series and everything, and
Such a good guy.
phenomenal guy, and he's missing a leg. And first time I saw him, we were sitting in there, and he was going to give a little class, a presentation. And he came in, and he opened up the door, and he fell down. And there was like a hush, and everybody was quiet, and then somebody tried to make a move to go help him. And he jumps up, and he says, "Why aren't you laughing? That's funny. When a guy falls down, that's funny." He said, "I did that on purpose. Don't pity me. That's funny." He just wanted to be a regular guy, right? And say, "Hey, listen, I can do this."
And Zach had another great line around that. He said, sometimes we get caught up on inspiration porn when it's like, you're so inspiring, you're so inspiring, you're so inspiring. He goes, "I don't want to be inspiring. I want to be entertaining. I want to be funny. I want to write great jokes. I want to be," and he said,
regular.
It's like, I just want to contribute. This isn't the only contribution I have. And, like Earl would say the same thing. And yeah, absolutely. Sorry, again?
Blind Pete.
Blind Pete, across the board. And again, these people inspire us, but Blind Pete doesn't inspire us because he's blind. He inspires us because of who he is. Blindness just creates a context for that. Like Zach.
He still gets to do all the stuff and push through. And
there are a lot of people missing a leg who aren't inspiring anyone because they're not out here doing these things. Just like Amelia Boone inspires us as an able-bodied person who does this stuff.
With that,
where do you want to go to? You want to go to Spartan.com?
/podcast. Because you'll find a bunch of people like this.
Absolutely.
Maybe not as funny, maybe without Workout Wednesday.
Workout Wednesdays,
but
check that out.
Really inspiring people. Sign up, check it out, go to YouTube, and toodles.
Thanks for listening to Spartan Up. If you like our show, be sure to tell your friends about it and help us rip 5 million people off the couch. Then subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you catch our show. We're here every Tuesday, learning from someone new and sharing the lessons with you. Spartan Up is brought to you by Spartan Race. To find a race near you, visit Spartan.com.